Hello everyone, welcome to eHealth Indonesia 2020 Goes Online. This is Study in Europe webinar series. My name is Anton Hilman. I'm going to be moderating this webinar. This webinar is going to be presented by Miss Helen Young, Study in UK Marketing Manager, East Asia Market. Please stay tuned until the end of the webinar because we will hold a Q&A session. If you have any question about the presentation or anything related to the country's higher education, you can submit your question in YouTube's comment section anytime throughout the presentation. And now, please welcome Miss Ellen Young.
Thank you very much. And hello, everybody. I'm Helen, as has just been introduced, and I'm speaking to you today from London in the UK. So hopefully somebody's going to share my slides with you all. There they are now. So what I'm going to do for you in the next half an hour or so is talk about what life in the UK is like for students, a little bit about what it costs, how to apply the healthcare system, that kind of thing, and then give a little bit of background on what studying in the UK looks like at the moment this year, because as we're all aware, it's a little bit different to normal. So thanks very much. Let's go through to the next slide then. And I'm going to tell you now about the UK. So when we welcome international students to the UK, we really hope that you will fall in love with two things. So we've got our ancient traditions, but also a very forward-looking way of being and way of life here. We've got a great cultural scene, so I'll talk about it in a bit, but of course, cinema, theatre, music, sport, and more. We have the world-class education, which is what we're here to talk about today. And on getting a UK education, you will be gaining respect from employers, not just in the UK or in Indonesia, but from all over the world. And we really hope that in coming here, you really will make friendships for a lifetime. So let's go to the next slide. And the UK, many of you will be aware, is not just one country, but is made up of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And we're very proud to be one of the oldest democracies in the world, and a very forward-looking modern country with very multicultural societies around the country. It's also a very safe and secure place for us to come and study. Let's go to the next slide. And the UK, just to give you an idea, because it's quite different in its layout to Indonesia, but we have over 66 million people in the country. And if you look at the population size in each of the 4 countries, England does have a far larger population than the others. So a lot of you who are considering going to study in the UK, the majority probably will end up in England just because there are more universities there. But we also have fantastic universities in Scotland, in Wales, and in Northern Ireland as well. So I recommend everybody consider the whole of the UK when looking at study options. Let's go to the next slide. The UK, of course, is the home of the English language, and this is a really good reason to come and study here. Over 95% of the population speak English, but we do also have smaller native languages in some areas, such as Scots, Welsh, Irish, Gaelic. We've got Ulster Scots and Cornish as well. And because it's such a multicultural place, we also have many, many other languages which are spoken too, which we've listed here. Some of them being Arabic or Cantonese or Gujarati, are just a small number of those. Let's go to the next slide. And to reiterate really that this really is a country where everybody is welcome, no matter your race, religion, gender, etc. The UK really is a very, very tolerant country, and it's against the law to discriminate against anybody here. And there's a real deep commitment, both on university campus and elsewhere in society, to really support students in their religious and cultural needs. So on campus, you'll see we've got many different international student societies and also religious societies too, and places to worship. A really great thing about the UK universities is that 20% of academic staff come from countries other than the UK. So not only will you be mixing with students from all around the world and living next door to students from all over the world, but also you will be learning from the best minds from around the world. So it's a truly multicultural and international experience when you come here. And I'd say really to make the most of that when you come to the UK. Make sure that, yes, you join the Indonesian Student Society, but also learn from those around you from elsewhere too, whether it is cooking or religion or culture and other things. There's a lot to be learned and shared. Let's go to the next slide. So I touched on culture a little bit earlier, but something else I wanted to say is the vast kind of range of different types of scenery that we have here, from countryside, mountains, coastline, little coastal towns as well here. So I would bear that in mind when you're looking at where you would like to study. Are you more of a city person, countryside person, seaside person? I would think about that. If it's something that you're interested in, there's a fantastic nightlife in a lot of our cities. And we have fantastic music, art, theatre, film, and literature as well. So let's go to the next slide. And, a lot of you will be aware of some of the key characters that have come from the UK, both real and fictitious characters. So, of course, we've got Shakespeare and all of his characters, such as Hamlet. We've got Harry Potter as well. We've got really famous musicians, such as the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and more recently with Adele or One Direction, Ed Sheeran, and others we've got here. So you'll be able to get involved in that when you're here, seeing live music, but also getting involved yourself at university with all of the many music and drama societies that we have. There's also great music festivals too, if that's something that you're into. Or if you're more into classical music, we have fantastic music venues around the country, and not just in the cities, but also some universities are lucky enough to have really good music facilities on campus, such as Warwick University, that some of you may have heard of, has a really great art centre where a lot of the key performances from London would travel and perform there, and students can get much cheaper tickets. All right, let's go to the next slide. And don't worry if you're not into music. We've also got a lot of sport to offer. So for those of you who are into playing sports, there's really a ton on offer in the university community and in the towns as well. The UK is proud to have invented a lot of sports like football, tennis, cricket, and others. And you'll just have the opportunity really to get involved with that when you're here, both watching and taking part. Let's go to the next slide. And let's go to the next slide again, now to give you some real kind of practical information on what life will look like here. So in terms of your finances, you can expect to pay between £800 and £1,300 a month. Now, this will cover rent, bills, food, and other living costs, depending on, on your lifestyle, how much you're going to spend on things like food, because you do have a lot of options in terms of supermarkets or markets for what you're wanting to buy here. For your phone contract, you'll spend around £10 a month. If you're into coffee, it can cost around £2.44 for a cup of coffee. And if you're into the gym, it can cost between £20 and £40 a month. But a lot of universities do have a gym on campus that you're able to use free of charge. Do bear in mind that costs will vary depending on where you are based in the UK. If you're in London or in the south of England, then it's going to be a little bit more expensive for you. If you are studying and living further north, it will be a little bit more reasonable. So that's something to bear in mind when looking at where you would like to study. Let's go to the next slide. And just a quick note that, obviously at the moment around the world, travel is more restricted because of the pandemic. But in normal times, the UK is very, very well connected to the rest of the world with over 40 airports. You can travel easily to Europe as well. And we've got good, links between cities, within cities, between towns, so you can get around quite easily and explore. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, and for now, why we're all here to talk about the study aspects, so let's go to the next slide. Why is the UK a great place to study? Well, we've mentioned the inclusive way of life and the historical culture as well. But we have those exceptional academic standards, which I think is what would attract a lot of international students to come here. So we do have 2 of the world's top 3 universities based here in the UK. And a further 26 of our universities are in the world's top 200. So what that means is, even if you're not going to the one that's number 1 or number 2, whichever UK university that you choose to study at, you can be guaranteed that you'll get a fantastic level of education. Each one of them is held to very, a high level of education they must abide by. They are having to abide by many checks and regulations, which mean that even if you're having to study online in the first instance, that level of education will still be second to none. We're also one of the most trusted and popular study destinations in the world. So just in the academic year of 2018 to 2019, we had over 485 undergraduates and postgraduates. So 485,000, who came to study here from overseas. So I think that really does go to show the popularity of the UK as a study destination, and just goes to show how international our campuses are as well. Okay, go to the next slide, please. And mentioned earlier about the reputation with employers. So a lot of employers are aware of the high caliber of education here in the UK. And to have a UK qualification on your CV will show the level of the education, but also the style of the education. Because here in the UK, you're really encouraged to think outside of the box. You know, you're not just spoon-fed, but you are encouraged to think creatively, to kind of prove or to really explain to people around you why you've had a certain thought or why you read into a topic in the way that you do. So that you'll be learning all sorts of things, not just the English language, but also public speaking skills and innovation as well, which will put you in good stead with employers. All right, let's go to the next slide. Something very exciting linked with employability is that we have a new visa launching from next summer, so summer 2021. And this is for anybody who graduates from the UK from summer 2021. So it would be, you know, you would be able to stay in the UK for up to 2 years to look for work or to work. And if you are a PhD student, you will be able to stay for 3 years after your graduation to look for work or to work. So this is really exciting, actually. Let's go to the next slide, if that's all right. So also about employability. The UK is a world leader in technological innovation. And what you'll find with a lot of the courses, especially if you are studying science, technology or engineering, we've got fantastic links with industry. We've got some of the world's largest companies based here, such as Unilever, Tesco, GlaxoSmithKline as well, Vodafone and others. And a lot of these have some say in the structure and the content of our university courses, so that you're not learning old-fashioned way of doing things, but actually having those skills that will put you in good stead in the workplace. And we have industry-led learning approaches as well. What it also means is that with a UK course, often you'll have the option to do a work placement or a year in industry. So do check this when you're looking at the structure of the course you are interested in. Let's go to the next slide. We have fantastic, really a reputation in science, research and innovation in the UK. The UK, for a small country, has quite a lot going for it. So we're the birthplace of many world-changing events from long, long ago with the Industrial Revolution, and then in previous years with the invention of the internet as well. And we're ranked as number 1 for the impact of our scientific research. So just think you would be learning from the people who are involved in that research if you came to study here. And you know that will influence the content of your course as well. Let's go to the next slide. And the next slide again. So let's talk a bit about study options. We do have over 400 universities and institutions here for you to choose from. As I said earlier, please do think about what kind of person you are and your preference on location. Do you like busy places, countryside, the seaside? Do have a think about this. And remember too that there are more than just the academic institutions. We also have drama schools, music conservatoires, and more specialist institutions as well. So consider that when you're looking at your options. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So just a bit about undergraduate. So we have one of the most diverse subject offerings here in the UK. The types of bachelor courses or undergraduate courses we have are the bachelor degrees, which you can do full-time or part-time. And then we also have shorter undergraduate courses such as foundation degree, diploma of higher education, or the higher national diploma and certificate of higher education too. Now, these courses are more practical in nature and would be just kind of a level below in terms of the qualification you get would be just below the bachelor degree. All right, let's go to the next slide. About postgraduate studies. So postgraduate 2 in the UK has exceptional academic standards, which must be maintained. Our master's courses tend to be on average 1 year long, which is shorter than those in the US and in Australia. And because they're 1 year long, it means that they're good value for money because you're getting that knowledge and then you're able to apply it in the working world or in the real world a lot quicker and a lot sooner. And it just means it's more reasonable, really. So the types of master's courses we have here, or postgraduate courses even. So you've got your master's, MBA courses as well, PhDs or doctorates, and then postgraduate diplomas and qualifications, which don't have the dissertation at the end. We also have a whole wealth of professional and vocational qualifications. All right, let's go to the next slide. So how do you go about finding a course in the UK? Well, first of all, I'd recommend everybody look at the Study UK website. The link will be at the end of my presentation, but if you just Google Study UK, you'll find us at the top. And on here, we have a really good university finder tool, and you can just type in the subject that you're interested in, and it will show you all of the institutions which offer your subject. The other thing that you should be aware of is UCAS, UCAS. Now, this is the Universities and Colleges Admissions Service. And this is where, if you're an undergraduate student, you will likely submit your application. You can also search on this platform for more than 50,000 undergraduate courses. So again, if you just type in your subject, it will show you which institutions do offer your subject. And I just encourage everybody to do a bit of research there because, don't just be looking at the rankings when you're choosing a university. It's also very important that you look at the course content because even if the university is ranked, 1 to 3 or something, it doesn't mean that course content will necessarily be what you individually are interested in or the career that you want to go into in the future. Often you'll find in the UK that the first year of your studies will be more general in your subject, and then from the second year onwards, you'll be able to start tailoring to your real preferences. Let's go to the next slide. And how to apply. All right, let's go to the next slide again. And as an undergraduate, I have mentioned you have to go to UCAS. On UCAS, you will apply for up to 5 courses, and I recommend you do put down as many as you can. So 5 if you can, because that just is increasing your chances. I wouldn't just bank it all on one institution and one course. All right, let's go to the next slide. So in terms of the deadlines for this, if you're looking at studying from September 2021, so next autumn, then the application for Oxford or Cambridge has now passed. That was in October, and interviews are soon happening for there. Most courses in medicine or veterinary medicine or dentistry also fall a little earlier in October as well. For most undergraduate courses, though, it will be the 15th of January. So bear that in mind and do get your application in by then. If you are going to study art and design, and I know a lot of students from Indonesia do come to the UK to study these subjects, sometimes those deadlines will be a little later. So please check with your university, but it's likely to be later in March. Then end of June, we have the late deadline for most undergraduate courses. Now, if you apply after this date, you will be put into clearing, which means you will not be guaranteed your first choice. So recommendation is to get your application in as soon as you can, if possible. All right, let's go to the next slide. And about applying as a postgraduate. So you can also search for postgraduate courses on UCAS. So check that out as well, even if you are a postgraduate student, and also check the university's own websites as well. Let's go to the next slide. For postgraduate students, most postgraduate students will apply directly to the university, and the deadlines vary. So just keep a lookout on the university's website. What you'll need to apply are English language tests, your previous qualifications and academic and professional references, and then a personal statement, which includes information on your skills, your hobbies and interests, and why you've chosen this course. I should have mentioned for undergraduate students that you will also need to supply very similar things. And for the personal statement, you don't have very much space to fill everything in. So it's about a page roughly. So just make sure that you're showing there how you stand out from the crowd. So yes, you need to show your academic prowess, but also what have you done outside of your studies that makes you a little different to others? What extra time have you put into your course to prove that actually this course really is for you and you're dedicated to this course? These are things that you need to show. So if you've done particular reading around the subject, I would include that. If you have any work experience related to the subject or with transferable skills, I would include that as well. And then any extracurricular activities are also important. Any leadership skills you've shown in societies, any musical instruments you play, volunteering you've done, anything like that, do consider including it. All right, let's go to the next slide. As I mentioned, the application deadlines for postgraduate studies do vary depending on the university. So do check the university's websites, as the courses will close once they are full. All right, let's go to the next slide. Now, applying for a UK visa, we now have the student route, which is what most of you will be using. And this is under the UK's new points-based immigration system. It costs £348 to apply, and it will allow you to live and study in the UK throughout your course. For more information, I do recommend that you visit the gov.uk link that I've put here on the screen. So just if you look at gov.uk and type student visa, it has all the information that you will need there. All right, let's go to the next slide. You will need to prove your English level when you apply to the UK. And the reason for this is because they want to make sure that you're not going to struggle in studying your course through the medium of English. So all UK universities accept IELTS results. And typically, you would need to gain a score of 6.5 or above in order to study here. But the UK's top universities can require a higher score of 7.5. So again, just check with the university what they will be needing from you. We also have other tests available, such as Duolingo or TOEFL or Pearson English test as well. All right, let's go to the next slide. You'll be wanting to know about fees, of course. So as an international student, if you are coming to study undergraduate, then you can expect to pay from around £10,000 to £26,000 per year for lecture-based degrees. Now, if you're doing a medical degree or something based in a laboratory where you're using more equipment, this is more expensive, and you can pay up to £58,600 per year. Postgraduate degrees in the UK are shorter and cheaper, as I mentioned, and can just be done in 1 year. Usually, some of them will be slightly longer if you need to do a placement, but usually it's 1 year. Now, postgraduate degrees typically range from £15,000 to £30,000 a year. All right, let's move on. Just a note to say that you can work part-time whilst you study in the UK up to 20 hours a week. Just check your visa paperwork when you get it to check that you do have that permission to work for 20 hours. and also check with your university. Oxford and Cambridge University, for example, are less keen on their students working at the same time as studying. So you will not have that opportunity during term time, but people at other universities will. All right, let's go to the next slide. Just to mention as well that in terms of food and shopping, don't worry too much about missing things from home. We have lots of international food choices here, both in restaurants, but also in supermarkets and international food shops, so that you can cook for yourself as well. And because you're going to be living with students from around the world, you'll be able to learn all sorts of new culinary skills. All right, let's move on. Now, just a few words on what it's looking like at the moment. So let's go to the next slide. And if you do choose to study in the UK at the moment, so I'm talking about those students who have a place for this year, most students from Indonesia, if they're traveling directly from Indonesia to the UK and from other countries too, will need to self-isolate upon arrival in the UK for 14 days due to the pandemic. And the universities are really looking out for students during this time. They're able to study online during those 14 days. And the university, in many cases, are providing supplies for the students as well. But do speak with the university if you're concerned about this. Let's go to the next slide. In terms of what the situation in the UK at the moment is like, and of course, if you're looking at studying next year, we don't know what it's going to look like then because of the pandemic situation around the world. But at the moment, we are in lockdown in the UK, and in England, we've got a national level lockdown until the 2nd of December, which means that only food shops can remain open, universities can remain open, schools can remain open. So for education, you are able to study and you are able to travel legally. But the rest of us are staying home as much as possible and working from home. All right, let's go to the next slide. And about blended learning. So by blended learning, what I mean is where possible, universities are teaching students face-to-face, but international students can study from their home country in the first instance if they're not able to travel. So the universities are really adapting their style of teaching to ensure that you've got face-to-face on a screen tuition with a lot of contact hours with your professors. They're also considering timings as well with the time difference between our countries so that you are not having to get up in the middle of the night to study. All right, let's go to the next slide. Just a note as well to say that the UK really is prioritizing students, both physical well-being and also mental health at the moment as well. And we have a lot of support on the ground at the universities. All right, I'm aware of timing as well. So let's go to the next slide. I'm going to skip this section for a bit about the NHS, but I just wanted to say one note here that you will all have access to the National Health Service in the UK. You will have to pay an international health surcharge upon applying for your visa, and then you'll be able to access treatment in the UK. All right, if we could just skip the next few slides, just the final thing I want to say, and let's skip this one as well, is about some free online courses, which I think will be interesting for everybody. So the first one is the Prepare to Study and Live in the UK course. This is live now. I've put the link on the screen here. And it's live until the 27th of December. So you still have 1 month, but I would recommend you sign up ASAP because we have live moderation at the moment. And it's all about preparing to study and live in the UK. So what is studying here like? How do you find accommodation? What is the assessment style like? How to meet friends? What's it like studying during the pandemic? All of those questions. Do sign up for this course. Okay, let's go to the next slide. The other free courses that we have live now until February, we have over 300 online courses for free from over 40 UK universities, which are in a whole host of different subjects. I've put the link here, but you can do like robotics or art history or something about poetry. We have many, many, many different courses. So just go and check it out on Future Learn. And this is a great thing for you to try out UK style study, see what it's like, and also something to put on your personal statement to show that you've really dedicated time to your subject. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there in case we have any questions. So thanks everybody for listening. I'm aware I've raced through there. So do we have any questions?
Thank you very much, Ms. Helen Yang, for your presentation. Now we'll begin the Q&A session. The first question, it goes, I'm studying Arabic literature right now. Do you have any university recommendation to pursue master degree related to Arabic literature in UK?
Thank you. So if anybody has questions about which universities are particularly strong in their subject, I have 3 tips. So number 1, if it's about rankings that you're interested in, like which one is number 1, which one's number 2, please do check out the Times Higher Education website, and they have the world rankings of universities. So if you type in your subject, it will show you which one is top in the UK, and you can filter it by teaching, by research, just, depending on what's most important to you. The second tip, which I mentioned earlier, is type in your subject on the Study UK University Finder tool. So again, go to the Study UK website, and that will show which universities offer your subject. And the third tip is to go to UCAS website, UCAS, and you can see all of the UK universities which offer your subject. And I would recommend doing that because you will want to look at the course content. Because if you're going to do it at master's level and you've studied Arabic literature previously, you're going to know very well what particularly interests you and what you want to study in particular. And you'll be able to see which courses have that for you. All right. Any other questions?
All right. Thank you for your answer. The second question, it goes, is there any possibility to get a job in UK after getting master degree?
Yes, that's a good question. So first thing I would say is yes, we have this new graduate route visa I mentioned. So if you guys are graduating from the summer of 2021 onwards, you will be able to apply for the graduate route visa. And this will allow you to stay in the UK for 2 years to work. And you can also look for work during that period. The other thing I would say is that the UK universities have fantastic career services, and they'll be able to help you throughout your master's course and beyond. You'll still be able to access their support once you've graduated, and they have links with employers and will be able to help you with employability tests, and also with interview skills, writing your CV and personal statement, all that kind of stuff. One thing I would say, though, is, of course, with the pandemic, the labour market has been quite affected in the UK, just as it has been elsewhere. A lot of people in the UK at the moment have been furloughed, which means they're unable to work, but they're receiving up to 80% of their salary from the government at the moment. So what I mean is I wouldn't want to overpromise to anybody at the moment, just because we don't know what the situation will be like next year. But it's possible that there will be some impact from the pandemic.
Okay. The second question, the third question, it goes, do all universities in UK accept a person that holds a bachelor of applied science, or do we have to take any additional course in order to get master degree in UK?
No, I think if you have the undergraduate course, then you have your certificate, your grades, then you are able to go on to study a master's program. For those who want to study at undergraduate level in the UK from Indonesia, often they will have to do a foundation year first, just to kind of get the required points in order to go into the undergraduate course. But once you have an undergraduate course, you can pursue the master's.
Thank you. The next question is about IELTS score. What is the minimum score if I want to apply for the postgraduate scholarship in UK?
Usually it will be 6.5. But if you're going to somewhere like Oxford or Cambridge, maybe Imperial, somewhere else, it might be 7.5. But you can check on your university's website. They'll have more information about that.
Thank you. Next question. Is it possible for a second-year student to apply a transfer credit program and get scholarship?
That's a tricky question. So for things like this, particularly with scholarships, I would check with the university themselves, because it will vary a little bit from institution to institution in terms of how the points carry over. So I wouldn't want to give you a kind of sweeping statement answer at the moment. So do check with the university, I think would be best.
Yeah. Next question is university in UK accepted TEFR English proficiency?
Okay, so for the English proficiency tests, it's the university, not UK Visas and Immigration, who set the requirements. So what by that I mean UK Visas and Immigration just want to know that the university is happy with your English standard. So what that means is you need to check with your university which English tests they will accept. So for that particular one, I'm not sure. You would need to check. They have expanded the list of tests that you can take because they're aware that during the pandemic, a lot of IELTS centres were closed. So even some universities are offering their own English language test actually as well. There's also like the IELTS indicator test that you can take from home, and that is checked by examiners then afterwards. There's all sorts of options, but just check on the university's website, I think.
All right, thank you. Next question, it would be the last question. It goes, what is the current academic situation in the UK, especially in this pandemic time? Does it affect the international postgraduate admission as well?
That's a great question. And it's probably the question on a lot of people's minds, so a good one for us to finish with. So in terms of will it affect admissions? Perhaps in some ways, because I'm aware that in some countries, including in Indonesia, a lot of the exams may not be taking place this coming year. So that means that the universities in the UK will need to decide how they're deciding on whether somebody or not is eligible to have a place at the university. And this is something that I'm sure will be communicated by the universities themselves in due course. But in terms of the actual academic situation in the UK at the moment, the high caliber of education that I mentioned before is being maintained. The universities are actually spending the same amount of money, if not even more, on providing the courses online. Because although that they have been honing their online capabilities throughout previous years, this is a new thing for everybody to have to do a lot of stuff online. So a lot of time, effort, and money is being spent on this. And the feedback that we've got from international students is that, yes, it's tricky at the moment because they're having to stay in their room quite a lot. And they're not able to experience the UK lifestyle that they had hoped to in these recent months. But they have said that some of the advantages of studying online have been that, first of all, if they're English, if English is a slight barrier, then they can do it more in their own time. They can ask more questions of the professor, and they're not having to keep up, when it's live and in person. And it just means that they have more time then to read back over things in their own time as well. And they can kind of just get up and get on with things in the mornings. So that's kind of how it's different at the moment. As I mentioned before, where the universities can, they have been doing things face-to-face because government has said universities can remain open, but that's only where teaching is in a small scale setting. So if it's a small teaching group, say like a supervision, a seminar or something, and they do it socially distanced, then that's okay. Also, laboratory work is taking place with the correct equipment, but lectures are all online because it wouldn't be safe to have many, many people shoulder to shoulder in a lecture hall at the moment. But just to finish off to say, universities really are prioritising student and staff's well-being, both physically and in terms of their mental health, and that level of education is still top-notch. You've got the same professors, the same course content, and you'll get the same qualification at the end.
All right. Thank you very much for your answer. That's the end of our Q&A session. Just a reminder, you can connect with Miss Ellen Young through the information given by Ms. Ellen Yang. Thank you very much, Ms. Ellen Yang, for your presentation, and I hope to see you again next time.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Okay, and thank you everyone for attending today's webinar series. I just want to remind you that from tomorrow we will have a webinar series from the European University. So thank you very much, and see you tomorrow for our university webinar series.